As we were mentioning, significant progress has been made in the DNA sampling and the identification of the victims from the Ahmedabad airplane crash. In fact, we were just hearing just a short while back from the experts, the doctors who are involved in the sampling process. So far, the mortal remains of 24 victims have been handed over to their families. And among those is also the former Chief Minister of Gujarat, Mr. Vijay Rupani. Will try and understand the details about the DNA sampling. I'm currently joined by Aarti Jyotiram Kamble, Director, Principal Researcher and Senior Forensic Expert at National Forensic Consortium, NFC India. All right. Aarti ma'am, just give us a sense of, we have been speaking about the degradation process and in a high impact, high energy crash like this one, the Ahmedabad air incident, and we have been hearing it from our reporters as well, the bodies of these of the victims, they would likely be severely damaged, right? So in that particular case, how significantly does this level of damage and the potential charring impact the quality of the DNA sampling, and how is it then extracted? The DNA is extracted from there.
Yeah, see, whenever this kind of tragedies happen, there are mostly the samples are maybe charred and decomposed. So there will be a very difficult task to extract the DNA samples or from their present decomposed bodies or the charred bodies. First of all, we have to take DNA samples from their bones and teeth, which are present, which are intact. Or if the muscles are there, then we have to take or extract the samples from their intact muscles. So these are the deceased samples, and for matching them, we have to take and
all right, we'll try and reconnect there with Aarti Jyotiram there. We'll try and get a sense of how degradation of the bodies affect the DNA sampling as well as the contamination, etc. Aarti ji, please go ahead. You were saying, you were explaining this. Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, actually, whenever such tragedy happens, it gets little difficult to extract the DNA samples from the charred body because it is already burned. So we have to go for the teeth extraction DNA and the bone extraction. So from that place, we can take the DNA samples and we can have a reference sample from their parents or children. So we can match those DNA samples. So we get a very clear conclusion whether it is from that resource disease or from the other person.
There is also this fear of the mixing of remains, and this is something that the doctors, the experts must have faced. When there is severe commingling of these remains, how do you then ensure that the tissue that is collected for DNA analysis, it truly belongs to a single individual, and what steps are taken to separate and then categorize these mixed samples?
Yes, the tissues which are completely intact if the body is half burnt and the tissues are intact to the person's body, then we can collect those tissue samples for the DNA. If it is from the charred or from the burnt area, we cannot have it for the forensic analysis. First, note this. In that case, we have to go for the bone and for the tooth extraction process. So this extraction process is done by the forensic experts, and this is very sensitive because there are so many other things which are mixed or contaminating to that. So forensic experts, there are many scientific techniques to extract it. And after extraction, we have to go for the isolation technique. In isolation technique, we generally isolate DNA from those particular DNA extracted samples, and those samples are then isolated. Then isolated samples are run in the PCR, that is known as a polymerase chain reaction, and then it is sent for the annealing process, where that even a small amount of DNA can be processed for the identification process. And in that thing, there are short tandem repeats, that is STR, VNTR. There are multiple repeats in our DNA sample. Even a single 0.1% of amount DNA can also be recognized to the reference sample. And if we have this, then it can be very easy to know who is the deceased person.
Right. One final question to you. In some of the cases, you also might only obtain partial DNA profiles. Correct me if I'm wrong. How do these partial profiles then impact the matching process? And is there any, statistical method, any advanced technique that you might use to identify that?
Yes, even if we have a partial DNA, we can identify the victim or deceased person because there are because that DNA fragment is very unique to very individual person. No other person can have a similar DNA like other person. So that short tandem repeat or VNTR can be matched with the reference sample with their family member. If it is matched, then it is very prominent thing that it belongs to that deceased person or it belongs to that like individual.
All right.
So it is unique and identifiable.
All right. Atiji,
And
thank you
in
very
such
much.
cases like mass tragedy, DNA is the only option to get a very known analysis to identify that victim or deceased person.